Hello and welcome to Dimsy's Domain, and if you checked out our previous video with Real to Real Productions, who is my guest right now, we spoke about...
Sorry.
Yes, with that little interjection, you know he's around, but we done a video talking about will it return, and we actually speculated, we're the first ones to speculate if Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken is going to return, and because of us, solely because of us, it returned during the fight against Merge the Master. So you know what, we're going to make another video, and because we're going to make this video, we know it's going to return because we have that magic touch.
Yes.
So, you know what, before I go into it, do you want to say hello? Although you kind of said hello.
Woo! Hey, Dimsy. Hey, everyone listening. Always a pleasure to be on your channel, man. I'm glad to be here, and this is a really interesting topic. I hope everyone really likes it.
Yes, and before you do anything, before you even carry on listening, press pause, check out Real to Real Productions in the description, subscribe to him for the best theories, ideas, discussions, you know what, you name it. You know what, he has Walking Dead. What more can I say? Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, I'm assuming soon to come on the channel. Dexter, check him out, you're gonna love it. But let's talk about, will the giant Namekians return? I'm gonna hand it over to you, Mark, because you're the one who came up with the idea, and you blew me away. Absolutely blew me away with your reasoning. So tell the masses. Tell them.
So I feel like this is something that could definitely return in the upcoming Universal Survival Arc, or as I'm calling it, like I like to call it, the Omniversal Tournament, because I just think that's a cool name for it. Although Universal Survival Arc is definitely more of a catchy name, but I digress. I definitely think that this is something that could potentially return. As we talked about multiple times in the past, Dragon Ball Super has been nothing but nostalgic. It likes to bring up stuff that we've seen from the original Dragon Ball Z days, and twist it and turn it in a way where we get really excited, bring up all this stuff really quickly, where people are starting to use, in definitely cool ways, starting to use techniques that we haven't seen for a really long time, but almost in tandem. So we have something like the Kaioken Super Saiyan Blue times 10, whatever you want to call it, and being used together. Or in case of Piccolo, you have the multi-form technique with the Macaco Senpo. So that's actually something that we've never really seen before, although it's like, why wouldn't you have used that at any other time? It's such an interesting technique that would throw everyone off. I mean, it obviously threw Frost off. So my thought is this is something, this tournament with the lineup that we have with 17 and 18 and Piccolo and Roshi and Tenshinhan, people you wouldn't necessarily expect, but not necessarily disagree with or not excited about. Piccolo has a bag of tricks almost as big as anyone else in the entire series, stuff that we haven't seen for a long time. And I think one of the things that we haven't seen for a really long time, although it makes no real sense other than basically the people that he's been fighting and the usefulness of it, is the giant form technique. And the reason I think that this could actually make a comeback is because we don't necessarily know who he's going to be fighting at all going forward, but we have seen some promotional art from Toritaro from the manga version, and the one thing that sticks out there that I never really noticed until Kanji pointed it out is one of the gods of destruction, or Kais or someone, seems to be really huge as compared to everyone else, and these people are kneeling. They're not standing up all the way. They're like literally kneeling, head down, everything else, and this guy is towering among everyone. And whether he's a Kai or a god of destruction, it makes me wonder, is this universe, regardless of how big this god of destruction is, could this universe have giants or giants competing or something? And it'd just be really cool to have a giant and Piccolo go up against him, and they're like, oh, how is this guy gonna beat him? And Piccolo just smiles and instantly goes big and just fights this guy and like ends up owning him in a very strategic, very classic, nostalgic way. That's something that all fans would be really excited about, and just all that other stuff. That's something I'm really excited to see. It's something I think could really happen going forward. So, Dimsy, what are your thoughts on that? I've been talking for a while.
I think that's extremely interesting. The guy that you're speaking about is the God of Destruction from the picture. And the thing is, we've seen, and once again, Woking Kanji, our friend, he did mention this, link in the description down below, but he did tell me, and we done a video talking about the Kais and the Hakaioshin, but the point being, it seems, even if it is unintentional, that the Kais and the Hakaioshin of each universe show somewhat of a similarity. Now, Beerus and Supreme Kai, yes, they don't show as much similarity, but they're both kind of thin. They're both kind of thin. Whereas Champa and the Supreme Kai of Universe 6 are very well fed. They're very, very well fed. They're very healthy.
That's a great
overly
point.
healthy. Yeah. So there could be that sense of mirroring effect. And once again, this kind of supports, although it is speculation, but it does give some water to this little theory about, hey, why this is a universe full of giants? And even if it isn't a universe full of giants, if there is going to be a giant, it probably would be in that universe whereby that giant god of destruction does reside. And secondly, you spoke about Piccolo having the biggest bag of tricks, and that is completely true. During the fight between Piccolo and Frost, we see him use the technique of where he extends his limbs to such an extent whereby it's like Scorpion's get over here. And we know that he does have the giant form technique there, the Hellzone grenade, etc. We need to see the return of techniques if they are going to be relevant. Remember this, they don't have to be super duper strong. Remember Magetta, he wasn't the strongest. He couldn't even fly from what we found out during episode 70, during the baseball episode, whereby we found out that apparently he can't fly according to Piccolo, but Magetta was able to tank a lot of damage. He was able to tank Super Saiyan 1, Vegeta's final flash. So if they find other ways other techniques to beat the opponent, look at Goku, he beat Botamu by just chucking him out the ring, which is kind of a scummy way to win, especially for Goku's sake. So if Piccolo were to somehow utilize his giant form to maybe even occupy the full space, so he makes a ring out happen, but as you said, he can go toe to toe with any giant. And if he were to find a way to improve these techniques, so let's say he goes to his giant form and he retains his speed, if anything he even gets faster, that would be a very good way. And another nostalgic callback is the thing that when you go bigger, when you become a giant, your muscles kind of protrude, and we haven't seen muscles on full display in Dragon Ball Super. So it would be very nice to see a lot of muscles as we are accustomed to from Dragon Ball Z, and heck, even the latter portions of Dragon Ball. So that's one thing which I think really could happen. And if the giant form does come back, the amount of people that are going to suddenly become Piccolo fans is going to skyrocket.
I feel like that's the thing, though. Like, when I come up with all these techniques, and really, guys, the one thing we are, like Dimsy said, when it comes to the lineup for this upcoming arc in terms of who they picked, by excluding, although for any other reason, by excluding Trunks and Goten, I feel like that is what they're doing, is they're bringing this stuff back so they can bring techniques and things we haven't seen for the longest of time, and making us excited to see certain characters again, and giving shine to characters who were kind of been outside, or kind of outside looking in for the majority of the series, not just Super, but a long portion of Dragon Ball Z, most of which hasn't been relevant since at least the Cell arc. And it's going to be really interesting for me, at least, to see Piccolo come back in any way, shape, or form, because while I think, and I think a lot of people would agree with me, the way he was handled in the last tournament just was almost depressing. When he came in, it would have been really fun. I think a lot of people really wanted to see him and Vegeta ultimately fight valiantly, either in a match or two, and try to use wits in order to fight everyone, which he did, but we all wanted him to win at least one match. So if they don't give us that, at least, in using, like we've been talking about, his bag of tricks to basically edge out someone, that would be cool. Like using the giant technique just to edge out someone, and then basically having that be his downfall later or something. It just there's so much potential when it comes to Piccolo, just because of how much he knows. And I'm really hoping that this comes back. I mean, there's really little, like, obviously he would be in a lineup of 10. Just to me, I feel like there's no other reason, there's no other thing they can do with him that would be as exciting as bringing back the giant form.
Yeah, and if they were to utilize his, as you said, Piccolo's biggest asset is his mind and his experience. And of course, with the inclusion of Master Roshi as well as Ten Shinhan, we know that they're going to utilize the martial art aspect to it. And with them having 10 people per team, it would be foolish for them to, let's say, I give up, especially when the universe is at stake, according to what we know regarding the universe survival arc. So it would be silly for them not to include that and utilize each character and make them either victorious or lose, and that's how they're eliminated from the tournament, instead of them, let's saying, oh, I give up, etc. So I just hope they utilize him properly and they do justice by him. And with that, I'll just quickly ask you, is there anything else you'd want to say?
No, I think I've got it all, man. Like, I'm just really excited. I hope people comment down below whether or not they're really excited to see this, whether they had forgotten about it, whether it's been something they've been it's on their mind, they've been wanting to see for the longest time, and I would just really like to hear that stuff.
Yeah, make sure you comment down below. Did you expect the giant form technique to actually make a return in the Universe 6 vs Universe 7 tournament? And if you did, I'm sorry, but you know what? There's hope. There is hope for it to return in the Universe Survival arc. So there is that. Anyway, guys, make sure you check out Real to Real Productions. We've done a video regarding the female Super Saiyan possibly returning. It's the perfect time to return. Check out his other videos regarding that podcast which he done with Kanji as well as Particle and others. Check out his videos. Just subscribe to the fella and make sure you like, share and comment down below all of your theories. What else can make a return? Join me next week when I'm going to post a video regarding will Future Trunks return. I'm going to be joined by MJ from Geeklist TV, so make sure you check that out. You may now exit Dimsy's domain. Thank you and goodbye.